On Professionalism by Lauren Youngsmith. At 17, I have just about perfected the art of adult talk versus teenager talk. I know exactly when to pull out a genuinely fake smile and what situations require words like absolutely, accompanied with the sure affirmative headshake versus totally, or whatever. From this practice, I've picked up a good sense for when I'm speaking to someone else's faker half. This hasn't been difficult, seeing that about 95% of the time, adults utilize their second self, and about 90% of the time, they're awfully clumsy about it. I spent 16 years inside of this system where adults spoke, children spoke, and crossing the lines required so many cushions that the meaning was more often than not smothered. Just when I was beginning to accept that communication must be so stubborn, in walked Derek Gottlieb, bright, giggling, contagiously passionate, wearing jeans with his jacket and speaking the kind of language that we understood in a way that made us want to hear. He moved with a wild intensity around the classroom as he tried to explain to us Blake, Nietzsche, Marlowe. He called them total nutcases, but also spoke like he desperately wanted us to believe in something these men had said. Philosophy seemed to be all that was sacred to Gottlieb. I remember sitting next to him on a chairlift in Winter Park when we took an advisory ski trip, and finding myself inexplicably in the midst of a conversation with him about growing beards and the science of comfortably sharing a bed with one's wife. The trick is to get used to numb arms, he'd said. And then after a few minutes of brave chuckling, he finished, I don't know why I tell you guys this stuff. Gottlieb's apparent disregard for the conventions of professionalism drew all of his students toward him in a way that felt like bridging some gap we hadn't even noticed was there. We were at peace with the administration and the adult world, confident that we were heard and could speak. Not only that, but that we wanted to speak, because Gottlieb seemed almost unnervingly comfortable and willing to spend time just joking with us. He'd held us at some perfect attention, one that welcomed comfortable, but also commanded a level of respect that was only deepened by his openness. I felt lucky and selfish all at once. But then, just like I had noticed the gap Gottlieb bridged only after he arrived, I suddenly recognized an unmistakably emotional tie emerge and ache when he disappeared. I hadn't realized just how crucial it was that teachers give themselves clear barriers in order to maintain the integrity of both their jobs and their relationships. And then, irrationally, I felt even more protective of Gottlieb's conduct and more deeply hurt at his unexplained departure during spring break. I often wonder whether his unrestrained behavior with his students might have bristled some conservative feathers within the system he'd so unwittingly broken down. It feels egregiously unfair to us students to be so suddenly stripped of this bridge, as well as Gottlieb's presence, his friendship. In my case, I'm either trying hard to pretend I don't care or groping for an explanation for why I do care so much. There's something about not knowing that invites a lot of introspection, even if it rides on the tailcoats of thoughts both bitter and confused. A teacher, I think, above all, must be passionate about his work and his students. Wherever this passion manifests itself, the teacher will try their damnedest to communicate it, and students have their own way of knowing what is pure. While the system-reliant part of me begs me to be careful with my feelings, to dismiss Gottlieb as having been lax and unprofessional, I can't help but feel lucky that everything he taught us was the honest truth and that I was smart enough to listen while it lasted.